Boris Johnson is to extend the lockdown powers for another 6 months, Conservative MPs prepare for the biggest lockdown rebellion, and Priti Patel is to ban left-wing activist lawyers from protecting illegal migrants. Hello everyone and welcome to the second program of the day. We've had a lot of news today from the government, specifically the Home Office. We know what happened last night. I'm sure you've seen the previous program earlier today where we discussed Clapham Common, the incidents that we had with the Met Police. That actually reminds me, after the video, my producer Lacey reminded me that I've been pronouncing the head of Met's name completely wrong. I've been saying Cressida is Cressida. Simple. But yeah, let's just move on because I've been saying it for a long time, mispronouncing her name. But on that note, she has said that she's not going to resign. That's what we heard earlier today. Now, the latest that we have from the government itself is that Boris Johnson is now seeking and getting permission from Parliament to extend lockdown powers for another 6 months till at least September. This is quite interesting because initially when they introduced these powers a year ago, we had the grace period and the clause to have it every 6 months, have a vote in Parliament. They had it again a while ago to make sure that they could protect the society and the NHS. Now that they've said they have a roadmap to unlock the country, they don't want to just extend it till June, which is the end of lockdown. No, they want to extend it till September, just like how Chancellor Rishi Sunak is extending furlough until September. So I'm not saying there's any conspiracy here. I'm just saying that where's the logic behind this decision by the government? Is it just to be extra cautious? Or are they planning to do something just in case if something else happens from Europe? I don't exactly know what's happening, but the Conservative MPs in Parliament are not happy about this decision and they are planning to start another rebellion. We know that these rebellions in Parliament have been very unsuccessful by these Tory MPs, but this time they think that they could have the numbers. They're saying that Boris Johnson is now to face the major rebellion. There are more than dozens of Tory MPs, but they might get cross-party support. We don't really know what the Labour Party is going to do, but the votes come within days of Boris Johnson's expected meeting with the 1922 committee of the Tory backbench MPs, in which he is expected to come under a lot of pressure over these lockdowns. Now, senior Conservatives who are pushing for the Prime Minister's releases said that they expected dozens of Tories will vote against the extensions or abstain if these new cases continue to fall. And we know that Friday showed that England has hit the lowest level since September when it comes to new cases, and the R rate is really low. So senior Tories have said that they expected this rebellion to actually happen against the extension of the lockdown powers more than the vote on the act itself. We know new cases are going down. We know that there is a plan, this roadmap to unlock. Boris Johnson has promised us that 21st of June is completely the end of all the restrictions. And there were also a lot of hints from the government saying that they might accelerate the whole plan. But then they've been cautious not to publicly announce it in any of the press briefings that they have. So there is a reason that Conservative MPs are now skeptical, because there have been a lot of empty promises in the past when it comes to getting MPs to vote on specific measures. They didn't get it. They only vote on big moves like the lockdown powers. Now, Mark Harper, who is the chairman of this recovery group, has said that with better news and data each week coming from the NHS on vaccinations and also Parliament considering the new regulations later this month, the government must ensure that data, science and evidence lie at the heart of its approach as we lift these restrictions. And it's true. He has said that sticking to the set of data based on and now outdated and overly pessimistic modelling would be a mistake. But that's what a lot of the members in SAGE are trying to do, because a lot of scientists are by nature very cautious and pessimistic. That's just how they are careful about modelling these sort of things. But there are a lot of other issues in terms of this roadmap as well. We know that the government plans to open non-essential retail before restaurants. So we now have Hugh Osman, who's the founder of Punch Taverns, the former director of Pizza Express, who's written to Boris Johnson saying that there's absolutely no evidence or justification to prioritize non-essential retail, all the normal shops, over hospitality. Saying that they are considering further that they potentially indirectly discriminatory effect of this. It's true, because if you have the non-essential retail opening and people going in, they're not going to socially distance anyway. They're going to be very close to each other because there are not going to be any rules specifically to actually have the security guards to check everyone to be 1 meter or 2 meter apart. They're more likely to mingle in a shop, in like M&S for example, or Next, than in a restaurant where they have to go and actually sit at their table. And we have these rules already with the restrictions where you can't really just mingle around, walk around. So why can't restaurants open? I get why the government is scared of clubs, nightclubs. Late at night, people get drunk and, the government can't trust people to behave. What about restaurants? Why can't Pizza Express, for example, open? This is the biggest problem that we have. And the letter said that time is of the essence for the industry, and it's costing hospitality £200 million a day. This is huge, by the way, because there's one part of hospitality which is from the consumer's perspective. This is just part of our social life, and there's also the economics behind it and how people's jobs are at risk at this point. But this group has now obviously started this legal action over the indoor hospitality reopening date, and part of this statement, Mr. Osman has said that apart from saying that evidence, not prejudice, when taking these actions should actually be taken by the government. Mr. Osman has said that I believe that we can show that discrimination, rather than facts, science and evidence, lie at the heart of much of the government's approach to hospitality, and these wrongs need to be righted. Well, that's a fair point, and there is this discussion about how the government's roadmap was supposed to be taking place. Was it right to do these days? Why, now that the number of cases are going down, and they promise when all the over 70s get their jabs, then we should be free. They've changed their mind, they've moved the goalposts, and now the same thing's happening when it comes to hospitality. But it's fine because Rishi Sunak's extended furlough. Everyone's fine, everything's saved. There is a big problem. On the other hand, there are some good news coming from the government, but again, don't hold your breath. We'll see it. We'll believe it when we see it. It's the Home Office, Priti Patel, and the Justice Department coming together to try their best to ban activist left-wing lawyers who start these court cases to protect illegal migrants and foreign criminals from being sent back. This has actually been a big problem for the Home Office over the last year or so, specifically until then, because all these boats coming in from France and other places, and because of the conventions and rules that we have, the Home Office take them in, they start the process, they reject them, and when they're about to send them back, these lawyers start a court case. So they're trying to stop this, and these greedy lawyers are to be banned from mounting last-ditch appeals to prevent these people from being kicked out of Britain. This is a new move by the government, and a lot of people are skeptical, including Nigel Farage, who's tweeted saying that don't hold your breath, just wait. We'll believe it when we see it. And it's true, because we've had a lot of promises from the Home Office and Priti Patel herself. We want to make sure they actually act on what they're promising. Now, an independent panel of legal experts found that only 12 out of the 5,500 review applications were successful, yet since 2017, 8 law firms handling immigration cases have received £42 million in taxpayer-funded legal aid. £42 million of your money being spent on these greedy left-wing lawyers. Why? Why should I understand that we have this legal aid scheme? Why do we have to fund these activist lawyers and the cases that are for these criminals for our own citizens as a safety net? People who can't afford legal fees. I fully understand it. We're living in a Keynesian society. Safety net exists. The government is there to support people. But when it comes to, millions of pounds of taxpayers' money being spent on cases that shouldn't even have started, this is the biggest problem that we have. And again, the Home Office, it's not necessarily just their fault. The Justice Department is responsible for this. Politicians over the last couple of decades have made this mess from Tony Blair's government to Cameron's and now Boris Johnson's government. All parties are responsible. On the other hand, we talked about in the previous video about the Met and their behavior last night and recently in general, especially with double standard policing that they've had in the summer and then with the anti-lockdown protesters. Now they're trying to impose this new police bill, the Tory police bill, as Ian Blackford says. And that's going to give more power to the police, and it's going to be problematic. A lot of MPs in Parliament are going to vote against it. I have a problem with Ian Blackford and this tweet because he says that the SNP will vote against the Tory police bill, which imposes restrictions on our freedom and also right to protest. It is a rushed and poorly considered bill and would damage the rights of people across the UK. SNP member Ian Blackford, who wants to be leader of the SNP, is protesting against this bill because it's against human rights and our civil liberties. The same Ian Blackford and the SNP who just passed the anti-free speech laws in Scotland. They want the police to come into your home if you make an offensive joke during dinner time. That's fine, but because this is obviously the Tory police bill, we should just oppose it. The hypocrisy of these SNP politicians are astonishing. But I just wanted to show you that as well. But we're going to keep you posted because this week in Parliament is going to be quite dramatic with the government and the Tory backbenchers rebelling against Boris Johnson. As usual, we'll keep you guys posted, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell next to it and click on all not personalized. That's the best way to stay up to date. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.